Beep bop biddly bop. Hello, and welcome back to the Why Do Boys Make Podcast, the only podcast about the Why Do Boys Play Games Fantasy Football League. It is Thursday, October 5th. It is week 5. We've got a game tonight, boys. We've also got a Rocket Buster show for you. And I do mean we. Tonight on the show, we've got the manager of the only remaining undefeated team in the league. We've got Colin. Colin, how are you doing?
I'm doing so good, and I'm excited to watch Sam Howell score 30 points in real time tonight with all of my co-hosts.
In real time, we will be talking about this game. It'll be a great time. And on the other side of the aisle, not literally, we've got the 1-3 dream machine. We've got Sean. Sean, how you doing?
I equally will be excited to watch Khalil Herbert score 3 touchdowns tonight, Corby.
Khalil is the real deal. Like I said, Rocket Buster show tonight. We've got recaps. We've got the first ever consensus power rankings. We've got bets. We've got pick'ems. We've got locks of the week. You name it. We've got it. Let's get into it. Let's dive into the mailbag, because we haven't opened up the mailbag at all this year. We're gonna go to some relevant comments from the past few weeks. Let's start off with Adam from before the draft. He said, "I'm going to pick Pat Mahomes," and this is an accurate comment, and you know, thumbs up to Adam for sticking to his guns.
Only note there, Corby, is of course that then many other people in the league also commented, "I'm going to draft Patrick Mahomes." We're giving it to Adam because he did it. Good on Adam. The next comment here is from Mike Bekonowitz, and this is not a comment I personally agree with, but he laid down a marker that Taylor will make silver this year. You know who agrees with that or agreed with that? Quick shout out to Chris Colby. We've got a bet in my bet tab that I have not forgotten about. So shout out to Chris.
How is Silverwatch 3.0 going? Do we have the numbers at the moment?
It's in pre-production because I did see Taylor has gained points every week this year.
Oh shit!
And I got to look it up. He's still at something like 530.
He's at 552 right now.
550. Okay, 552. So more progress than I was willing to give him credit for. So thanks for checking me there, Colin.
Yeah, and he has the highest projected score this week right now. So, you know, he might be 1-3 right now, but things could be looking up.
You know, it's a bad week when Taylor is the highest projected player in fantasy.
Oh, we will get into it.
All right, let's skip forward a little bit. We'll do a little time travel till weeks 1 and 2. Chris Colby is going to chime in with some language here and say, okay, so first name, pretty bad, I gotta admit, but it was lock it up, Evan's body hurts. So the first part was supposed to be just how it sounds, lock it up, as in bottle these emotions of being ranked 7th. And the second part is pretty obvious. I think this one was my first name puns with players, and I went too far. I don't think you went too far at all. I think maybe I think you went too far, but it's like the good going too far. It's like when Colin goes too far. I think it's good.
The next comment here, I'll just say that this is a bit of a foreshadowing for later on in the pod here, because Adam says, Fitzy eating his words, saying, I'm not going to pick guys up, currently leading the league with 13 moves. That's all I'll say for now.
Mike commented to round off the weeks 1 and 2 comments. Mike said, in terms of which team will go fully defeated, I think it boils down to mine and Adam's matchup. Both of us have a good shot at that title. Undefeated, I'm going to put this out into the universe, Taylor. So the Taylor one didn't age so well. But Mike, is he 0-4? He is, right?
Yes.
He is 0-4.
The only one.
Of course he is. So some prophetic proclamations being made here. He might have hit the nail on the head there.
Now, fast forwarding to weeks 2 and 3, Adam comments, Starting Adam Troutman is an insult to fantasy managers everywhere. But wait, Mike has to defend himself. He replies, agreed.
Yeah, couldn't put it better myself. That's a disgusting starting lineup player.
Corby or whoever uploaded the video put in the comments, the secret question is like who would you like to see on your team perform better? So we had some answers. Mike said he'd like to see everyone on his team perform better. That's an easy one for Mike, who has far and away the worst scoring team in the league right now.
And Colin, you also commented on this. Who's this? Who's this guy?
I said Cam Akers. I want to see Cam Akers go off. Cam Akers, he's gonna supplant Alexander Madison, hopefully, and be an RB1 in a good offense. That's all he needs. He looked pretty good last week, I'll say that. So just needed the opportunity.
And then Corby, just because I believe the question was, what bench player do you hope goes off? And I had to reply with Jahan Dotson. And he did score a touchdown in the, I think, last 3 seconds of the game. So he went off for 10. Good prophecy there. Adam also comments in, now talking about name changes, a little bit of a theme here. Adam comments, Corby, how about the team name Devon 8chan?
I really commend the effort. That didn't even cross my mind. Not the type of website that I find myself on, but I'll consider it next time. I appreciate it.
You might have to go there if you end up 2-10.
Chris Colby. Well,
no, Corby, you take this one. It's a direct call out. For you.
Yeah, I need to read this, I think, better so I understand it. So Chris Colby says, looking for a 10 this week from Corby on the name change. And we're going to get to that 10. We're going to get to that. It's definitely interesting.
The thermometer is peaking at just the right time. It's above a 9 for sure. We'll see where we land later on in the show.
So thanks for the comments, everyone. Keep commenting. We'll get back in there. Sorry we've been neglecting them. It's been tumultuous, we've been debating turning comments off because of all the fighting that goes on. A lot of drama going on with AI and stuff. So we were considering it. But thanks for the comments. Let's move on to the post week 3 transactions. We're recording this on Thursday, so it's exciting to be able to look at the transactions that have occurred in terms of waivers and whatnot. Let's start off with a trade that happened late last week. We had Matt Breida for Tyjae Spears. These competitors were playing each other, so it's a rare occasion of something like this happening where teams playing each other make a trade. Brandy starts Matt Breida and he gets like 13 points, which is great, I guess. And I think Colin wins this one because I just think Tyjae Spears has much more upside. But I understand why Brandy would make it because Brandy needed a start.
Yeah, Brandy is now leading the league, I think, in trades this year, and also both trades, I believe, have been like mutually beneficial. Brandy gets the safety blanket that is Matt Breida because they've got Saquon, and that can be, Mike McConowitz can attest to just how up and down that roller coaster is. So having the backup really, really helps. And Colin, I love Tyjae.
Yeah, I need all the help I can get in my running back room. So he's a welcome addition. Also, just a quick note that this is the post week 3 transactions, which we missed last week. We will have the post week 4 transactions after the recap. So,
Sorry, I can't speak properly.
No, you're good.
Let's keep going here. Adam spends a big dollar on Josh Downs. He puts his dollar down. He puts his dollar where it matters. And I'm not sure how he did. I'm assuming that Adam didn't start him. But okay. Yep. We had Trevor Siemian for $15. This is definitely the highlight transaction for me, just due to the amount of money that it was and that he's not starting yet.
And that there was a second bid for $6 and a third for $0. Even the one for $0 is like defendable, I think. But the fact that 15, like he had to put the money down, is so interesting.
Very, very interesting. And for the same amount of money here, we've got an actual starter, Josh Palmer, getting picked up by Brandy, which I think is a good pickup. The guy is very serviceable, and Brandy needs it for the help. Closest one here was Colin for 11. And then there was another one from Chris for 10. And then Adam once again for $2. Colin, are you upset that you missed out on Joshua Palmer?
I mean, my philosophy is bid the highest amount that you won't be upset if you lose out. So I'm not upset. I would have been okay with 11. I guess I would have been kind of upset at 12. 15, I'm not upset. I have enough receivers. I'm just looking for depth, and he's good for Brandy. I think they needed him more than I did.
Would have to agree with that. This next transaction, maybe, again, it's another bad break for our friend Michael. Spends $30 on Jameis Winston with the assumption that Derek Carr is not playing. And then beep bop biddly bop. Guess what? I guess Derek Carr is playing, and he can't throw farther than 5 yards. So Mike wastes the rest of his fab and is now officially out of money and still 0-4.
That was my only note, is that somehow he's out of that. I did not have all $30 on Jameis Winston on my bingo card this week, so I lose that one.
The next highest bid was $0. Poor Mike. My God.
That's a bummer.
Oh, it really is.
And I'm
I'll
hoping
tell you
that,
what's not a bummer.
yeah, this is a great one. Go ahead, Colin.
$2. First of all, I just really want to respect you guys, or just shout out you guys because you saw my waiver claims last week, and I really there was a snafu when I was, it wasn't a part of the podcast, but there was a snafu where everyone saw my waiver claims in this league for last week. Eric, Fitzy, and Corby, and I was kind of paranoid that I would be outbid on some guys. I think I raised some of these after that. But I just want to thank you guys for not, it would have been fair play if you did it. I couldn't really be mad. It was, but I just want to respect you guys. And Wandale, I think he looks good, and he's pretty involved, even though he's on a limited snap count. Hopefully they unleash him. I think they need to.
I fucking love Wandale Robinson, so I think this is a steal.
Yeah, I hope we saw his and the Giants' floor last week, because that was not a fun primetime game to watch.
Holy shit. Okay, I guess that's week 3 transactions in the books. Let's dive into what happened in week 4. The first month of the season is over, and things are starting to shape up as they should. In these first matchup here, we had Brandy versus Colin, where Colin takes the W. In terms of the pick'em, myself, Colin, and Fitzy were all on team Colin, and the coin and Eric were on team Brandy.
Corby, I took a look at this matchup and I had a couple of notes. This was a Hollywood who's who, and the picture was directed by Colin, who ended with the highest Martin Scorsese of the week. Stefan Spielberg put on another summer blockbuster of 3 touchdowns. And Baker M. Field Shyamalan pulled off a twist ending. He's not dead at the end of Sixth Sense, also scoring 3 touchdowns. The looming return of Francis Ford Cooper Coppola offsets the failure of James Cameron Akers. Brandy was taking direction, not giving it, as Joshua Tim Allen starred in The Santa Claus and gave away 38 points to all the good little girls and boys. I call their second highest scorer Timothée Chalamet, because he's a real purty boy. The Hobbit, Elijah Wood Moore, squared off against the evil hordes led by Christopher Lee Olave to see who would wield the 1 point, and they both came pretty darn close. Debo Sam Uwe Bowl came close, but it was truly TJ Emma Watson and the Pittsburgh D who took home the Razzie in this one, as Colin wins 174 to Brandy's 134.
Wow.
Colin, what do you think?
David Montgomery played the Thursday game. He scored the 3 touchdowns and 140 yards, and I was like, lock it up. It's going to be good. And then, people just kept doing good. It's nice that I can get this score with Pickett and Debo scoring a combined 4 points. It definitely has me feeling similar to my team with last year at times. But we'll see how high it can go. I'm happy to be 4-0. I don't think I have a 4-0 team, but I'll take it.
Take your wins when you can get them. That's what I like to say. In the next matchup, we had another victory. We had Tyler versus Chris P, where Chris P takes the win. and everybody picked Tyler except for the coin, and we were wrong. Oh, were we wrong?
Corby, I like that you say in the next matchup, we had another victory, because we'll get to it later in the power rankings. But to me, hindsight for this outcome is so obvious. Dallas D was Tyler's top scorer for the second time this year at 31 points. Chris had 2 receivers score even more. If anything, I was watching this matchup and I was thinking about basketball. Because both teams really balled out in this one, especially Chris P. And the P stands for Paul. His big 3 put on a show. Offensive stars Jalen Brown and Luka Nakua combined for 70, while defensive star Kenneth Walker Kessler put the kibosh on Tyler's hero dreams. Justin Al Jefferson looked his usual solid self, and the general Bijan David Robinson was all fundamentals, averaging 7 and 5 per carry. For Ty, this game was all about the role players, as the entire Mavericks bench scores 31, but it wasn't enough to overcome Michael Jordan Addison. I'd call it the flu game, but he couldn't catch anything out there. Chris, 170. Tyler, 145.
No, David Robinson was actually the admiral, I believe, because he went to the Navy.
Well, thank you. This shows you that I'm not like looking this stuff up very well. I'm just
You know what?
This shit's legendary, dude. What the fuck?
I love the Al Jefferson call. But yeah, I mean, this is basically. I mean, to me, it looks a little like the one, the one we just talked about. Me and Brandy, because just like I was buoyed by Stephon Diggs and David Montgomery, and one good quarterback and one bad quarterback. That's Chris's team here. He's got A.J. Brown and Puka Nacua going off. Russ holding it down, who's actually been good in fantasy this year, so good for him. And Tyler just is. I mean, his team. It's similar to last year's. He's got Justin Jefferson and. I forget who he had at running back last year, but I feel like it was the same thing. It was Justin Jefferson, like one good running back, and he's just so top heavy. So that's tough when your duds aren't supporting your stars. When you go studs and duds, sometimes you just gotta take your lumps.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of lumps, we've got a lump in our chest to discuss about this matchup. It was Chris Colby and Eric wins. Everybody picked Eric except for the coin. Once again, the coin is on the wrong side of the flip. Literally the wrong side. Haha. This was Colin's lock of the week. It's also well to mention at this point. I don't have anything to say. What do you guys got?
So let me just say those are my only 2 pun name breakdowns. But I do have something to say here, because I knew Eric would win this, but I thought it was going to be a little closer. It's a great little smackdown here from Eric, coming off a 200 burger and keeping the Pistons firing. But I think this is the last time Chris loses by 60 this year. 9 of his 11 players went under their projection, and 9 of Eric's went over theirs. So this was just, Yahoo had it wrong. Colin, I don't know if you have any notes on how Yahoo can improve in the future, but I think, this is the last time we see this.
Well, it's like Fitzy always says, projections are only directionally correct or something. Whatever that means, I don't know. I was, Eric's lucky this wasn't closer. I chastised him when we were here last week. I said, what are you doing starting Damian Pierce over Nico Collins? Hopefully he corrects it in the future. Eric's got a hot team, and he's just exemplifying that with these sort of performances. So good on you, Eric.
Speaking of hot, we've got a team who got their first victory this week. We had Fitzy versus Chris Cloud, where Fitzy won, and everybody bet against Fitzy except for the coin. This was even Fitzy's lock of the week. But Fitzy wins 153 to 122 in what I would say is probably the biggest upset so far this season. McCaffrey going off for 48.7 is amazing. Holy shit. That's crazy. Your QBs were solid too. And Fitzy, take your victory lap, why don't you?
I don't know if it's a victory lap. This is like I have pity for Chris in this one, because Christian McCaffrey scored about a third of my points this week. On Chris's side, Zay Flowers, TJ Hawkinson, Raheem Mostert, Jordan Love, George Pickens, Joe Mixon, and the Philly D all have in common this week? These 7 of Chris's 11 starters had their lowest score of the year against me. So that's my path to winning. Christian McCaffrey has to score 4 touchdowns, and I have to get lucky at the same time.
Yeah, I'm happy for you on your first win. This is we were all lauding Chris's team, and I'm sure we still will when or I guess I shouldn't say that, but we were just talking crap about the projections, but I think we all noted last week when we were picking the winner of this matchup that Fitzy had like the highest projection of the week. So, maybe we should slow your roll on the projection crap talking, because maybe they do know what they're talking about. Okay, so leave them alone. Okay.
Speaking of knowing what we are talking about, in this next matchup, we had Florida Man versus the hot new it couple of the world. We had Adam versus Taylor. Adam wins, and literally across the board, even the coin picked Adam. I had said last week I was afraid to bet against Tua and Tyreek in what I assumed would be a total like shootout between the Dolphins and the Bills. And it turned out that they just took a dump up in upstate New York. Did not have a great time. I will say though, it's really nice to have Kamara back when he's gonna have 13 catches in a single game. What the fuck? And Adam keeps dominating as he does, even though his 3 flexes are scoring not more than 6 points each.
Yeah, I mean, I want to save my hot takes because I got some here for the power rankings that are coming up. But yeah, I had 2 notes. First one was just 2 words, 13 receptions. That was it. The other one here, I absolutely love the fact that Daniel Jones getting sacked 11 times, fumbling, and throwing 2 picks, one of them for a pick 6, ended up being a 29.5 point swing in Adam's favor because he had the defense starting against him. Entering Monday night, I think the projection was actually kind of within the range of either team could win this one, but it was quickly pretty obvious who was going to win this one.
Yeah, you guys just kept talking about Kamara and 13 catches. It was great. He had 33 receiving yards. He had 2.5 yards per catch. How absurd is that? What was I going to say about that? That's just like, it's just so crazy.
What else needs to be said? Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, it's looking like Najee. It reminds me of like Najee rookie year numbers when Big Ben was like, Mr. Noodle Arm. David Carr's out there, he's can't throw it like
Derek Carr is his name. Oh my God.
Did I say David?
You said David again.
We're going to rewind the tape on this one.
David Carr's out there. Derek Carr's out there. He can't sling it past 5 yards. It's hurting the rest of the team. I think it was selfish for him to play. I don't think there's any doubt Winston would have done better, even though the one throw he had was a pick. Whatever. Adam, I think your day of reckoning is kind of drawn to a close with Jonathan Taylor coming back. I think. I mean, I guess maybe Ramondre can do better, but he's looked pretty yucky. I think me and Adam have some similar issues with our running back room just being absolute garbage. The difference is I think I have a little more depth. We'll talk about that, I guess, but this is. I don't want to say this is definitely not a ceiling game for Adam. We just saw him score like 190 last week, and he's got that's where his ceiling is. But I wouldn't be so confident if I was him, and he probably isn't confident. He's never confident. That's why he makes 13 moves a week. So, but good for him for getting the win. He's 3-1. He's in 5th place. He's in a good spot.
In the final matchup of the week, it was the battle of the Michael motorcycles. Everybody except for the coin picked me. This was my lock of the week, and I was right. For the first time this season, I beat my projections. Mike, for probably the 4th time this season, he didn't make his projections. It's great to see my stalwarts still doing great. Anthony Richardson, love that guy. Devon Achane, love that guy. Brandon Ayuk, love that guy. T. Higgins, hate that guy. Jerry Jeudy, hate that guy. Joe Burrow, hate that guy. We're going to get into it. What do you guys think?
I love that you've got a love-hate relationship. First of all, I want to say, Corby, congratulations on winning the right to be called Mike. So just starting with your team, you really have received a Devon blessing here. You've got a 2nd straight win, and Anthony Richardson looks so much fun to own. Now for Box, yeah, that's right. He's not Mike until he wins it back. So for Box, it's a 3rd straight week of regret. bringing his running total up to 26.48 Zach Wilson, Desmond Ridder regret points. It's just a shame that he has to start them both next week, so he can't extend this lead very much further until week 6.
Yeah, I hope you feel really high and mighty beating up on Mike like this. Good for you, Corby. I think you're leading the league in points against. I mean, you have the lowest. And I think the fact that you're only 2-2 is a little worrying. But your team's improving. This is your highest score yet, I believe. Is that correct?
I think it is, yeah.
So there you go. You're on the up and up. Joe Burrow can still look better. I think we have some interesting things to see in the future from Corby. Yeah, Mike, I'm sorry about your team. Just good try. I just wanted to say that. It's important for me to say.
All right, so let's recap here. We all had the same picks, all of the 3 co-hosts, so we all went 4-2 on the season. I'm 6-8, 3-0 on locks of the week. Colin is 16-8, 3-0 on locks of the week. Colin is 17-7 on the year and 3-0 locks on the week. And Fitzy is 12-12, perfectly balanced, and 0-3 on his locks of the week. The coin also goes 3-3 this week and is 14-10 on the year. And Eric went 3-3 as well. Any thoughts on these standings so far, Fitzy? What's going on with the locks of the week?
I think we're going to start locking it back up here. I'm more than I'm, ashamed of my 0-3. I'm impressed by both of you being 3-0 when we're all picking different games every week. Really, it's quite interesting. And if anything, I'm still afraid of the coin. The coin is within striking distance. Only 3 games out of first place. That's really surprising.
Little Herbert just rushed for like 30 yards on one run.
Oh, I haven't pulled it up yet. Yes.
And DJ Moore already has a touchdown.
DJ Moore's got like 87 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's fun. Let's get into the transactions that just transpired a few days ago here. Fitzy with maybe the transaction of the week here, the biggest steal. We've got Detroit defense going for $2. Love this move here. You're wheeling and dealing your money when the money comes to it. You're putting your $2 in. People say they're 2 cents. Fitzy's got his $2. Can you talk me through the $2 bid here?
First of all, it was an outbid of a 0. Somebody easily could have put $1 on it. In fact, I originally did, but I think if I recall, I get them for 2 weeks against good teams. I got to look this back up because I was thinking about this on Tuesday. It's now much later than Tuesday. Yeah, we got Carolina this week, and then say what you will or won't about Tampa Bay. I could start them against Tampa Bay. We'll see what the matchups are next week. I just think if I feel good about this giving me 4 or 5 points, that's easily worth $1 or $2. This is actually my favorite transaction of the year. And it's because of how close it was. We had just working bottom to top for Michael Wilson, who I didn't watch football last week, so I still don't know who this guy is. $3 to Colin. Corby, you had 4. But then Adam puts down 13. Chris Cloud gets stolen from by a Chris brother, Colby. They both put 15 down in what would have been Chris Cloud's first transaction of the year. And it gets stolen from him. He should have had waiver priority here. I don't care what the rules are. I say give it to him. Sorry, Colby.
Yeah, I love this move. I didn't know who this guy was either until I was watching Red Zone for like the second time this year last week. He caught 2 touchdowns. We'll see if he pans out to be either a guy who goes off for a few weeks and then never amounts to anything again, or if he's legit. I for one hope he's legit because it's better to have better fantasy players in fantasy football.
I mean, him going for 15, it really just, when I see these like players, these 1 week wonders. I mean, maybe he's not a 1 week wonder, but it's just hard to believe Josh Dobbs is going to sustain 2 receivers, and I don't know. It's just hard to, good for him. I obviously put a bid in, but I just wish I bid early. I mean, next year, if there's obviously not going to be a Puka, but if there's I'm going all in next year because I don't want to be having to scrounge like this, like a bottom feeder. But good for Chris Colby. And, I'll, not to spoil it, but, he really transformed his team in the waivers this week. So good for him, even though he's playing me.
Well, we have been spoiled. So let's get to the final transaction. the big ticket name, Jaleel McLaughlin, for $18, third string running back, undrafted free agent for the Denver Broncos. This is kind of a regret for me, I think. I mean, I feel like my bench sucks, and I would rather be starting Jaleel McLaughlin than a lot of the people that are in my flex right now. So I feel like $18 is a decent deal for him.
On
Yeah.
the one hand, yes. On the other, sorry, you can go first, Colin.
Yeah, I put 9 on him. It's just hard. It really is hard to imagine a path to success, especially if Javonte only misses like one game or no games because they're playing the Jets this week anyway. That's going to be tough. So it's just like they're short term, and then Samaje's still there, and say what you want about him, but he's probably going to get like half the snaps, which lowers his ceiling, a substantial amount. So it's just hard to, even though he was fun to watch last week, it's just kind of hard. It's going to be like a three-headed backfield, it's like on the Broncos. So it's just hard to really see a path to real success. So I'm definitely, 9 would have been fine. I'm definitely not upset about losing to 18.
I totally agree. The problem with Jaleel McLaughlin is if he keeps playing this year, that name is so cool. We're all going to love him. But if he never takes another snap this year, because, Javonte comes back, he's healthy, and Samaje keeps doing his role, then we're going to wonder who the hell, like on next year's pre-draft show, we're going to be like, who's Jaleel McLaughlin? I can already see myself doing that. I said the same thing about Ronnie Rivers this year, and now you got him, Corby. So sometimes you find a diamond in that rough.
I did end up dropping Ronnie Rivers.
He
was picked up by Adam. So I'm sad, but at least he's on a roster, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that next year I can say I squeal for Jaleel. Speaking of fun puns like that, let's get to the name change breakdown. Let's start with Chris Cloud here. He goes from that mouth punch Mostert A to the Jizzmeister. And I think this is great. I really appreciate a good cum joke and something about sperm. So I feel there's a reckoning coming for all of these teams, and I think this is awesome. I'm going to give this one a 9 for sure.
I've got a theory here that Chris is operating a smear campaign because he knows we post these YouTube videos publicly. So he's building blackmail when he can clip me saying Jizzmeister and post it somewhere when I try to run for office in 30 years, like he's really building up the background case. So good for you, Chris. I give it a 9.
Or maybe he wants to get us demonetized. He's trying to get these videos blacklisted from advertisers. He's, we're struggling as it is, so we're trying to keep the lights on here, Chris.
Colin, what? I'm sorry. What? Why wouldn't we be able to keep the lights on? Could you say the team name? I don't. I want all of us to say it.
It's the Meister.
Okay.
It's the Jizzmeister here. Hey, big Jizzmeister here. Big Jizz, they call me. But good for him. I don't, good name, I guess. I don't know.
We teased it earlier in the show. Let's get to the main event here. Chris Colby changes his name, goes from Born to Make a Comeback to Born to Lose, which is what I saw earlier today, to Born to Come. I mean, what else do you say? Like, he's a guy. He was born to come. Nothing is more perfect than this name. Nothing speaks more truth about the human mindset. He was born to come, and here he is. He's coming. I give it a 10.
It's a 10. It's a 10. It's easily a 10. And the reason for the 10 for me is I saw this change on my phone, and I wanted to see the team picture. So the only way I could really do that is on the phone, just take a screenshot of his team and zoom in and crop that photo. So Alex and I have partner share set up for our photos, and I am 100% sure that she got this, I think this is Dr. Johnny Sins picture just saved to our shared Google. So that, congrats to you, Chris. Even better than blackmail is making Alex wonder, who is this? That's a 10.
I'm noticing a little theme in these name changes this week, which makes me think: are we on the verge of a league-wide trend? In the vein of disciples of Ezekiel and all that.
Oh, it's in the vein, all right.
Oh god. I don't even know what to say. It's a 10, Chris. I love it, dude. All right, let's make the impossible pivot from come to power rankings. The dust has settled. It's like I said before. It's been 4 weeks. We've all been in the lab separately for the first time in Why Do Boys Make podcast history. We are going to consensus rank the 12 teams in the league.
That's right. And the way we're going to do this is from 12 up to 1. We're going to go around the horn, and I'm going to call on Colin first to give us his number 12.
All right, I'm gonna start off with a little controversy here. I'm picking Mike.
Oh man. So yeah, give us what you think about this. The way we'll do this one is after you do this. Now that we're on Mike, Corby, we're gonna fully rank Mike. So, Colin, you give us your breakdown first. We'll give it to Corby, then I'll take it.
So I don't think there's any surprise here. There's not much I need to say. This week he's starting Desmond Ridder and Zach Wilson as his quarterbacks. Jonathan Mingo and Darius Slayton are in his starting lineup. I just don't know what else needs to be said. Tyler Conklin is starting tight end. He's starting 3 Jets. And I know they just had a good game against the Chiefs, but I mean, I'm not, that's recency bias. I'm going to take the larger body of work. I'm sorry. I guess 4 Jets if you included their defense. So it's just tough to imagine a pathway to success. So I know Geno Smith is on bye, but he's about to maybe be 0-5. Although don't count him out yet. But what do you guys think? Where did you guys have Mike?
Yeah, so I'm gonna give Mike the benefit of the doubt here. The Jets are playing the worst defense in the NFL right now, the Denver Broncos this week. With that being said, I ranked Mike at number 12. The way that I have these set up, I have a why, a love, and a hate. So the why is why have I ranked them this way? A player that I love, I want to give my love to my friends here, and then I have a player that I hate, and this could be for any reason. My why is that, look at his team. It's been completely decimated by injuries, bad breaks on the waiver wire, and just players who just have not panned out for reasons beyond his control. A player that I love on Mike's team is Geno Smith. I think he's great draft day value. I think he's totally a great floor quarterback in a league that you need points from quarterbacks, and I think he's awesome. I think he's just great. And a player that I hate is Treylon Burks. This guy has literally done nothing, and he's just there to sit on your bench and clog it up, and you miss out on people like Puka Nacua and other fucking good players, and Treylon Burks is on a horrible offense. I fucking hate that. It's not even him, okay? It's not him. It's the Tennessee Titans. It's the Tennessee Titans.
I know you hate them.
Suck.
And you're not wrong. You're not wrong. So Mike, I should say, sorry, Box, I had him ranked number 12. I think the Box legitimately has good wide receivers, and Jahmyr Gibbs might get better. That said, Box's top-ranked player this year has been Devonta Smith, player number 37 on the year. Every other manager in this league has at least 2 players better than Mike's best. I don't really think Mike's team is bad. I just think everyone else's is better. So, Corby, who did you have at 11?
All right, here we go. I think that we all had an idea of where we ranked number 12. Who we ranked at number 12. Number 11, I have Chris P at 11. So my rationale here is that, when I'm thinking like this week right now, and maybe I should be thinking about the weeks ahead, but I'm looking at his lineup right now. He's got Justice Hill and Najee in the lineup. He's got Curtis Samuel and Christian Watson in the flex. All right. And he's also got players that are not confirmed to be coming back not anytime soon, but Austin Eckler is hurt, but he'll probably come back next week. But this guy, Chris, is a few injuries away from being like in dire straits like he is right now. A player that I love on his team, I think we all can say it at the same time. 1, 2, 3, Puka Nacua. Everyone loves Puka Nacua. How can you say no to Pocahontas? This guy is fucking awesome. I love him. And a player that I hate, 1, 2, 3, Najee Harris. This guy looks like he's running with his feet full of fucking cement. He's bad. I just don't. He's not good.
Okay. So, Corby, we saw this one differently. I had Chris at number 2 on the year.
Oh my!
Second
Wow, I
second
love
best.
that.
Now, Chris has got 4 players in the top 25. He's the only manager who can say that. It's Puka, AJ Brown, Russell Wilson. Yeah, he's been okay, and Kenneth Walker. He's also going to be getting Eckler back. I just think this is like an upper echelon team this year. He does have 4 quarterbacks, and only one is going to play this week. But this is a power ranking, not a week 5 ranking. So I like Chris.
I have him ranked 8. I agree with a lot what you said, Fitzy. I think he's got a good team. I mean, yeah, you look this week and it's bad, but he's getting Kenneth Walker and Eckler back. Those guys have been good. Puka's going to take a bit of a hit with Cup coming back, allegedly. We'll see, I guess. But I refuse to see a winning team with Bryce Young as a QB2. I mean, he doesn't just have 2 quarterbacks who aren't playing this week. He has 2 non-starters on his bench. He has nobody except Bryce Young, and this. I mean, I was a Bryce Young truther. I thought he was going to be far and away surprising everyone. I thought the Panthers were going to contend to win the division. He's been, whether it's his fault or the offensive line or the receivers or all the above, he's just been objectively terrible. Andy Dalton, he outperformed him in the eye test and statistically that one week he started. So I refuse to believe that the rest of this team can buoy him. But I mean, I just want to say I had all these teams like in this area. I had him ranked 8th. I have all these guys like 11 through like 4, 3, like all ranked in the same tier. Like I'm not offended by any of them being anywhere. Like they're all like, even though that's such a huge range, like it was just really hard for me to. I feel like it's really even this year, and I like that. I like parity. So good job, everybody.
Totally agreed. Although I think the next team we're going to talk about here is consensus double digits. We'll see, though. And that's because I'm ranking myself at number 11. I wouldn't say that my team is stars and scrubs. It's the number 1, the number 5, and the 59th ranked players on the year. I think I liked my 0-8 team last year better because Travis Etienne isn't used inside the 20-yard line. Drake London has averaged 2.75 catches per game, and somehow Cortland Sutton has been my best receiver. I only win when Christian McCaffrey goes over 40, and I mean, he's averaged 30, so I kind of like my chances at winning maybe 2 more games, but I don't see a path to much more than that. Colin?
I totally disagree, Fitzy. And you know what? I have you ranked number 4. And I'm sticking by my guns because I had you ranked number 2 when I did my power rankings. My big note about you is that you are missing the heavy hitters at receiver, and that's something that, for the past 2 years, that's all I've gone after. I've sacrificed everything to have receivers. So on paper, I should kind of hate your team. And we were talking about at the draft. I know you weren't there, but we were like, man, like Fitzy's kind of looking like Corby last year with all depth and no, you have McCaffrey, and Herbert's awesome, but not much out that side there. But in a league where, I don't know, I think I hated it looking at it, but just in a league where we start this many, like I think there's something to respect about that. I know Drake London has been so terrible. I really do think and hope that they put in Heineke soon and have something of like a actual like competent offense that isn't just all running backs and Jonnu Smith or whatever. Matt Collins is about to murder Desmond Ridder, so I don't think we'll have much more of him. I still believe in your team. You might have a bunch of wide receiver 2s and 3s, but I think McCaffrey and Herbert. I think Prescott could step it up. I think these guys, and in worst case scenario, trade some of this depth for some. Maybe not some lottery tickets, but I think you can get a lot of 2-for-1s because you have this depth, and a lot of people are in need of that. I mean, just look at, I'm sure the guys we're about to talk about who have, like Mike was, Darius Slayton and who else did he have in his flex? Someone really bad. Traylon Burks or whatever, I don't know. But, there's a lot of these people who don't have the depth you do. Take advantage of it, make some moves. I'm all about making the moves. Long story short, number 4, I still believe in you.
I'm going to piggyback off of what Colin said earlier, where, oh my God, DJ Moore just scored another touchdown. Holy shit. Anyways, sorry. So I'm going to piggyback off of what Colin said earlier. Colin, you had mentioned it was really hard to rank everybody from like 10 on, and I honestly agree with that. I feel like there's a lot of parity in the league this year, and I feel like when I was doing this, I was moving people back and forth, up and down, left and right, side to side, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You know what I mean? So for Fitzy, I put him at 9. Fitzy, I think you have one good QB, but I think that QB is really good. I think that Dak can be better if he like has to actually play and he's not carried by the defense. I think that you're absolutely dire at wide receiver. We've already said it. You know, it's pretty bad. It's just inconsistent. It feels like, and that really sucks. But you have McCaffrey, and I've been on that side where McCaffrey will just carry you through weeks, and it's enough, and he will carry you when you need him, and he'll always be there for you. For a player that I love on your team, I'm not going to go with McCaffrey. I'm going to go with Jacoby Myers. I somehow completely missed the ball on this guy, and had not seen him play a lot until a few weeks ago, and man, he is an absolute baller, like unbelievable. And the same token, I will continue to bury my old friend Brandon Cooks. Dude is complete dust at this point in his career. I think he's borderline unrosterable at this point.
It is borderline. I agree, but I'm sticking with the same theory that you are on. Well, maybe if they don't have like no reason to throw the ball, he'll get thrown to. We'll see. I'm gonna give it another week. All right, Colin, that brings it back around to you. We have not heard your 11th ranked team yet.
All right, so at 11, I think this is going to be a spicy one. But like I said, these guys are all in the same tier. I got the 6th place team, the big commish. I got Tyler at number 11. We just saw, I think he lost this week, right? Yeah, he lost, even though we all picked him to win. We kind of saw the holes in this team, which is the depth is just, this is one of those teams you should be looking at a target Fitzy because he's starting Tyler Algier and Sky Moore. And I know Gabe Davis has had some good weeks, but it's on such a low target count that like I don't think you can count on that. Obviously, having been a Gabe Davis owner in many leagues last year, it's just he's hard to count on. I wouldn't want to start him every week. So he's got a great top. You know, Bijan, Jefferson, Kirk Cousins has been good. Even Josh Dobbs, a great surprise. But it's hard for me to really see this team doing great things. So I got Tyler at 11.
Corby?
Super spicy. I really love it. I've actually got Tyler at number 4. And so my reasoning here is that while he does have Josh Dobbs, and that's kind of weird. Maybe he was right in saying, I believe that Cash did say at the draft that this was or maybe that was you, Colin, that was the Geno Smith narrative and that he was going to ball or whatever. In any case, I think that his, like what you said before, Colin, it's very top heavy, but I think the top heavy can definitely get him through some weeks. And I feel like he can also get lucky, and maybe Breece Hall with the reins off, hopefully this week can start picking up some slack and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, Tyler Algier, it's not starting at Tyler Algier and Sky Moore, not great, but I feel like there has to be some sort of waiver thing that happens that puts him over the top. I don't know. Anyways, a player that I love on Cash's team, Sam Laporta. I mean, who doesn't love to see a big rookie tight end go off on their very first season?
Yeah,
it never happens, and it's great to see. I love that you just picked them up for free, and I love it for you. For a player that I hate, it's Antonio Gibson. Every time I see this guy on my TV, I think he's going to fumble, and I'm usually right. This guy stinks. Just fucking stinks. Fitzy?
So, Colin, you and I were reading the same spicy tea leaves here because I've got Tyler ranked number 10. I went over Tyler's top players in our last pod, but Justin Jefferson is, probably the best pick in the draft, right? You could argue Christian McCaffrey, but he's delivered. And Kirk Cousins has been awesome. Those are his 2 players in the top 25. He also has the guts to start Josh Dobbs this week, and I love that. I'm also stupid enough to kind of want Rashee Rice on my team, but that's just how bad my team is. Corby, like you said, he's got tight end 2 on the year. Breece Hall very well and probably will get better as the year goes on. But in terms of team comp, I really think that his is kind of like my team if you just added the 11th best player on the year, the Dallas defense. Tyler has only made one move this year, which really hurts him in my ranking algorithm. If he had made like 6 or 7, we'd probably see him higher up on the board, but only one is really surprising from the commish.
You guys are opening my third eye. Jeez. Maybe I ranked him too high.
Oh, yeah. So, says Corby after I ranked Chris P second. But, but that's going to bring us over, Corby, to your 10th ranked player.
My 10th ranked fantasy football player in this league is myself.
Ooh.
I put myself at number 10. And my reasoning is that my high capital wide receivers are just not panning out at this point in Calvin Ridley and T. Higgins. My running back depth is completely non-existent at this point when I lost Chubb. Like, okay, it's great that I have Devon Achane. That's awesome. But, like, it's only been 2 weeks. He's got six touchdowns in 2 games. Like, that's not sustainable. And I just have no expectation of, like, what is actually going to happen. And also, have you noticed that Joe Burrow fucking sucks? Like, this guy stinks right now. My God. Get him off the fucking field. I'm probably going to start fucking Jimmy Garoppolo this week instead of him. With that being said, I will roster bait a bit and just talk about Anthony Richardson and how, oh, God. No. He's a big guy. You know, you see this guy on the field. He's fucking huge. He can run. He's got this insane cannon. And I'm just so happy to own him. It feels great to like have a set and forget quarterback for sure. And a player that I hate, I'm not going to throw Joe Burrow under the bus. I already did that enough. It's going to be T. Higgins, his teammate, my good friend T. Higgins. A few years ago, I owned him, and this was before they owned before the Bengals had Jamar Chase. And so my memory of T. Higgins was like, oh man, this guy was awesome. I definitely want to get him this year. No, I was wrong, and now he's hurt, and he's just going to sit there and clog my roster probably for the rest of the year. Yeah. So that's why I'm at number 10.
Corby, I actually didn't have you too far off of that. I had you at number 8, and here's why. So you've noticed the theme. I pulled the list of everyone's top players in the top 25 for scoring this year, and your list is this. Devon Achane. That is all. Joe Burrow is QB 31 on the year. That's behind Zach Wilson. It's behind Ryan Tannehill, and somehow it's only 6 points ahead of Andy Dalton. As a result, yes, T. Higgins is 3 points behind Jaylen Warren on the year.
Oh my God.
A lot of other players, a lot of other players here have been fun. Anthony Richardson and Ayuk have been so much fun. I also love Tank Dell. So I think I would say that this team has lots of room for improvement. This is the ranking that I feel the least confident about, because you could easily be number 3. I think getting 2 wins under your belt early in the year helps out quite a bit. So much like Colin said in his pre-draft rankings, despite this ranking, I like this team.
Have you ranked? I feel awkward here because you guys were both so humble with your rankings. I had you ranked at 6, Corby. It's gonna sound like pandering because I had 50 at 4. You guys were so humble with your own rankings, and I had you guys ranked so high. But I'm not pandering. I think you have. I know you've been underperforming, but I think on paper, what I tried to do is I tried to look at. 4 games, it isn't the best sample size. It's still kind of small. So I'm trying to still, balance that with how I think these guys will do rest of the season. Balancing that with the preseason outlooks. And I think when I look at your team's best possible, start, best possible like outcomes, I think you've got a pretty great team. If Joe Burrow fixes himself, which will probably also fix T. Higgins a bit. I think you've got an awesome starting lineup. James Cook and Devon Achane have been both of these guys. I mean, James Cook, I think, was a guy who was talked about as being hyped up. He's people would talk about him, but for some reason his ADP just wouldn't really go up. But he's been awesome. He hasn't been getting too many touchdowns, but it doesn't matter. He gets points. A lot of these guys are just underperforming. Tank Dell last week. Ridley's been kind of scary. Judy. But I think once these guys get the cylinder, rolling, do cylinders roll? Yeah, they're circular. Once you get the cylinder rolling, I think this is a team to be feared. I think this could be a playoff team. So I think you guys maybe have a right to be down on yourselves, but I'm not down on you guys.
I appreciate that. That's very kind of you.
That is very kind. That is very kind. I believe that brings it over to me for my 9th ranked team, and that is going to be Brandy. So on the bright side first, Brandy's getting Saquon back, and they've got a pretty great wide receiver duo of Chris Olave and DK Metcalf. Now, you might not think that's great, but those would be the best players on my team. And if on top of that, there are 2 players in the top 25 who are Josh Allen and Brock Purdy. Stay strong. This team's going to be great. I got to give a quick shout out to Adam for drafting 3 of the top 11 quarterbacks, but even bigger props to Brandy for getting the trade done. Again, notes here, room for improvement. Dallas Goedert has got to get better, right? So really the only minus I have on this team is the questionable flex.
Yeah, Brandy's got a tough week this week, and that what makes that especially tough is that they're 1-3, which would, a possible loss to Mike would put them at 1-4, which is a really difficult hole to dig out of. Nonetheless, Randy, I have ranked number 5. Because this week looks bad, but it's only because Metcalf, Palmer, Elijah Moore. Say what you will about those last 2 names, but they get targets. Barkley, all these people are on the bench. I think again, just like Corby, you might be one of the lowest scoring teams in the year right now, but I think it's just been these underperformers. I don't think you should change too much. Just let your team. This is a bad bye week. I think you could go on a run here. Josh Allen, Purdy, great base for. I feel like there's no real weakness here. Brian Robinson has been awesome. Once Saquon heals up, and now you guys get these guys off bye, I think it's a good team. I'd agree with Fitz about Goddard. He was a guy who I had ranked really high this year. It's been a huge disappointment. I don't know what's going on over there. Hopefully he picks it up. If not, I would have said pick up Logan Thomas, who's having a good game tonight, but Fitzy snagged him up.
For me, I've got Brandy at number 7, and so my rationale here is that I still think that this team has crazy high upside. I'm gonna pretty much echo everything Colin just said. I think Brian Robinson has been a revelation this season, been sneaky good. I think if you can get Saquon back, that would be a huge help. It just really sucks that you started the season with a couple of losses, and I just think the path is there, and I think you can hit a pretty crazy high ceiling. The player that I love on this team is the newest member of the team. That'd be Brock Purdy. I mean, in a league where QB is essential, because you start 2 of them, you need a player that can hopefully have a floor of at least 20 points, and now you do. And you've also got Josh Allen, and those guys can hopefully carry you when necessary. Player that I hate, they're pretty much the same guy. It's KJ Osborne and Tyler Boyd. It's like, I'm going to talk about another player in a bit. I'm not going to spoil it. It's the effect where you have this player on the bench. They're just going to go off. You're going to put them in the lineup and they're going to suck ass. And I just hate a player like that. They're very frustrating to own for sure.
All right, lovely. Colin, that's going to bring us back to you to unveil the last double-digit ranking that any of us is going to give out.
Number 10, I got another spicy treat for you guys. Number 10, I got Adam. Who I have, it's basically similar notes to Tyler, except that he has like really awesome quarterbacks. It's easy to give Adam the benefit of a doubt because of his, his record, like his in the past. Like we know he's gonna pick it up and really, I'm sure he'll make moves, but I just can't really, in good faith, rank him too high. Starting Robert Woods as wide receiver 2 right now. Flex Zach Moss with Jonathan Taylor coming back, Zay Jones and Josh Downs. And it's not like he has people on bye right now. Amari Cooper is on bye, so that'll probably take out, the worst of those 4. But, it's hard for me to in good faith, rank him any higher than that. Yes, he's got these awesome players. Kyron's obviously awesome. Patrick Lamar, Kelsey, my most sought after player in fantasy this year, really. So there's a lot to like, but there's just too much more to hate. So Adam is gonna eviscerate me in the comments. That's okay. He's who I picked.
For me, I've actually got Adam at number 3, and so The three big reasons for that are Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Travis Kelce. No, I'm just kidding. But seriously though, I do think I do understand what Colin's saying in terms of very top heavy with some yucky stuff in the flex in the wide receiver 2 area. But I think Zay Jones still has a lot of potential. I think we've seen the best is yet to come for him. And if something happens, something shakes out wrong in Jacksonville, somebody gets hurt, Zay Jones could step in like he did last season, and he was absolutely dominant. And we always talk about how Adam's making moves, and Adam is always making moves. So I feel like his management also lends to him just being higher in the power rankings too, which is probably a weird thing to say, but I think he's got a great team. Obviously, my favorite player on his team is Travis Kelce because he's the best tight end of all time, better than Gronk. No, I'm just don't at me. And for a player that I don't like on this team, I mean, it's got to be Jerick McKinnon because I feel like he's been in the league for so long and he's very annoying and he loves to vulture and only play in the red zone. And I just maybe that's just a personal vendetta against Jerick McKinnon for me or something. But yeah, I've got Adam at 3 though. I think he's got a great team still for sure.
So Corby, I don't think it's crazy for you to rank Adam based on his management style, because my note here is, before I give my ranking, quick preamble, Adam's team is like a social experiment. It's like he's doing a Madden rebuild where he kicks off the year cutting all his skill players, and it's working. Top players, of course, Lamar and Mahomes. They've actually been, I think, a little bit worse than expected, but still consistently good. And Kyren Williams, also in the top 25, has been an awesome pickup. We talk about Puka. Kyren's been one of the best pickups of the year, right? The previous record holder for number of moves made in this league was 70 moves by Adam back in 2021. He's on track to shatter that this year. If he keeps this pace up, he'll be making between 95 and 116 moves, depending on how far he makes it in the playoffs. That's a dedication that I will not be questioning. Even if I don't like his team, I can count on it being different in a couple of weeks, which is why I ranked Adam number 1.
Wow. Number 1. I just did not expect that. That's crazy. Yeah. But I totally see it.
Which, Corby, is going to bring us to your 8th ranked player.
Number 8. My number 8th ranked player is Taylor. I mean, your name says it all, Taylor. Your scantily clad bench only scratches the surface, but at the same time, I just feel like your top heavy team is still just like potentially totally carryable. You know, I do question some lineup choices that you have right now, like Jameson Williams in the starting lineup in his first week back. Coming off of suspension, I'm not sure about that, but I love the swag strat, so that's probably why I've got you in the single digits. I gotta commend it. For the love player, it's like it was my guy this year. It was Amon Ra. You know, he's proven time and time again he's consistent, he's dominant. His best game is yet to come for sure, and those big weeks are gonna pop and help you for sure. My hate, Marquez Valdez Scantling, literally the most annoying player in the past few years in terms of fantasy football. This was the guy that I was talking about earlier tonight. He'll score 15 points one week. You'll pick him up. You'll put him in the lineup. He'll have 2 targets for 3 yards or some fucking bullshit like that. And then you'll drop him, and then it'll happen again, rinse, repeat. I call it the MVS effect is what I was trying to coin. I just oh God. So that's Taylor. I've got you at 8. I think you got a great team. Definitely.
Yeah, I think obviously the Taylor team is even better because I've got him at number 5. I agree. There is not much of a bench to be spoken of here. But other than that, I think this team is actually pretty solid top to bottom. Of course, there's the Dolphin duo leading the way. Those are the 3rd and 12th ranked players on the year. He's only 2 in the top 25. But on top of that, I think his running backs are good. And you know what? I'll say it. Trevor Siemian, better than nobody on the bench. This kind of feels like a bizarro Taylor team because normally I hate it and he's somehow 3-1, but this year I love it and he's somehow 1-3. He's not going to lead the league in points against all year long. I think he's going to make the playoffs and make it easier to make silver next year. Colin?
So I have Taylor right snug between you guys. I have him at 7. So good for you, Taylor. Similar to Adam, he, no matter how much I like his team, he's going to take a little hit because of, past, performances and snafus, including this year. I don't know why you still have MVS and Rashad Penny on your roster, really. Um, MVS, I guess, is your totem, so that's fine. Go for that. I like this team. You're 1-3, so that's tough to make the playoff push. But it's 4 games is fine. I think you've got good depth. I still kind of believe in Daniel Jones. I think they just need to I don't know, fix stuff or something. He was good last year. I don't know what's going
Unleash the beast.
on. Who's that? The Daniel Jones?
Daniel
Or-
Jones.
Yes,
Okay.
of course he's the beast.
Right, but how do you unleash a quarterback? I don't know. Hopefully, with Saquon coming back, he'll take some pressure off him or something because it's just not working out. He was good last year. Corby owned him. He knows.
He was awesome last
He was a
year.
QB1, so I still believe in him. And again, I'm not going to let these 4-game sample size change everything I thought about in the preseason. I think you got a good team. I don't, the depth is questionable, and that's why I said you take a little hit with roster management because I think that's where, in a deep, deep league like this, that's where the roster management really comes into play. But I think you got a great base here. I think 7's a good spot for you.
So speaking of a good spot being 7, Colin, it's my turn, and I think 7's also a good spot for you. I think your team is the other one. First of all, just like Corby, you're the only one with one player in the top 25. That being Stephon Diggs, which he's pretty cool. He's impacted the culture. I mean, the whole "I'm him" thing started with him. And truth be told, you're getting cupped back after winning your first 4 games. So this team is not fake, as much as I don't love the quarterback situation. And Miles Sanders. Mark Andrews is still a really cool tight end to have. And I think this team, truthfully, is going to go pretty far this year before losing to somebody like Tyler in the playoffs. I feel like you're going to go against somebody who's ranked lower than you and be out, maybe even after a first-round bye. Final note, it's real big of you earlier bringing up the fact that Corby has the lowest points against when he has 500 and you have 505.
Wow. I'm gonna overstep you, Colin. I'm gonna put you in your place, right smack dab in the middle at number 6. Your team is reminiscent of my team of last year. It's a bunch of mid guys. I don't think that your team is exciting at all. I think that your QBs are boring. I think that your wide receivers are pretty boring and overrated. I'll get to that in a second. I think your running backs are boring. I think Mark Andrews is also maybe the most boring tight end. It's good tight end that's out there. Sorry, Colin. I still think you have a good team. I just think nothing here is exciting me. A player that I do like on this team though is Christian Kirk. I think he's pretty good. This is maybe another personal vendetta for me. A player that I hate is Deebo Samuel. He devalues the true wide receiver on the San Francisco 49ers. And I just think he's overrated. So I've got you at number 6. Where do you have yourself, Colin?
I mean, I think that's some of the most ridiculous things. Yeah, Corby has the second least points scored in the league. I'm in third. Yeah, okay. I have the least points scored. It's not like I'm out here earning my wins. Third points scored with Cooper Kupp not playing. With one of the best players in the league. All right? Oh, okay. I'm going to chill for a second, okay? Where's my Ativan? I mean, it's basically a carbon copy of my team last year is how I see it. To say my receivers is boring, I think, and then to say you like Christian Kirk, which means you don't like Stephon Diggs and Cooper Kupp, and then you like Christian Kirk. Who else do I have? Debo? You think it's boring?
I'm not to interrupt you, but now that I know that Stephon Diggs is the one who started "I'm him," I instantly devalues. I think that's maybe
I thought you were going to go the opposite.
maybe the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
All right, and I mean, Miles Sanders, I'm not high on either. Hopefully, he can fix himself, or I can fix him. Or I can fix that spot with someone on my bench. But to say, I guess if David Montgomery's boring, the dude leading the league in rushing attempts per game. He missed a game. He's probably still up there in rushing attempts. Period. And I'll take boring all day. This is my team from last year. It's mid quarterbacks. Baker's been great. Sam Howell is not doing good tonight, by the way. So step it up, Sammy, please. Get some garbage time. But he's been good this year. Bar one game. I mean, like, there's not much I can say except I led the league in points last year, and to me, this is almost the same team. I do think it's lesser. I have myself at a 3, so I really don't think I have the best team in the league, but I think you guys are biased. And then, what, you're gonna give Adam ups for past performance when I lead this league in wins every year? I mean, like average wins every year. So I think this is clear bias. You guys knew I was gonna rank myself high, and I think you're stymieing my ranking. That's fine. I respect it. I'll be laughing on the podium this year.
Well,
Uh,
I think if you had kept Kadarius Toney, he's got a lot of high upside. Maybe I would have ranked you higher.
I didn't need receivers. I guess maybe if I kept him, you wouldn't have thought they were boring. I guess then you wouldn't have thought Stephon Diggs, Cooper Kupp, and your favorite Christian Kirk were boring.
Yeah, he's my favorite.
And Debo
It's
Smith,
not-
Debo Samuel, boring.
Yeah, he's boring.
Debo Sam
Nobody in the
Bowl.
world has ever described Debo Samuel as boring.
Well, I'd have tonight.
All right, well, you're fallacious, and I'm going to fillet you.
Speaking of fallacious, we've only got 3 teams left to rank, and somehow Colin has not ranked his number 9 team. So give it to us, Colin.
All right, I mean, we didn't talk about this guy. My number 9 is Chris Colby. Oh my God, Sam Howell threw a pick, man. His negative points right now. All right, I'm
Good.
ranking myself 9. No, I'm joking. Number 9, I have Chris Colby. I think it's his. I mean, part of it is a big part of it is Fields and his lack of a. I mean, it's Goff too, but I mean, not to let one game throw it all in the trash, but Fields is doing great tonight, so I don't know. It's I feel like I'm a broken record at this point. I mean, he's got a decent team. It's just not. I think he's got a tough running back spot here. Pollard's nice, but like I said, these I think he has a good team. It's like I guess what Fitzy or Corby said about mine. It's just unexciting to me. I think there's not. I don't think he has like a really wicked high ceiling. Again, strike these words when Justin Fields finishes game with 50, but it's a fine team. I think it's like, to me, it's like just the definition of a mediocre team in this league. So I think you want to put him at 4th or 3, then I'm not going to argue against it.
For me, I've got Chris Colby at number 5. So originally, when I did this, I had him a little bit lower, or a little bit lower on the totem pole. But ever since he changed his name to Born to Come, it just shot up the power rankings. I think that gives a lot of energy to his teammates. But in all seriousness, though, he's got the Fitzy quarterback stack from last season that carried Fitzy on like a 6-game win streak or something like that. And I think that can help Fitzy, or that can help Chris here as well. And I think he's got sexy Tony Pollard, who's the player that I'm going to say that I love on this team. He has only barely even hit his potential, I think, this season, and I think he's going to have a great second half. A player that I don't like on this team is probably Kendrick Bourne, because he's just a little inconsistent, and I think the offenses that he's on is absolute doo-doo. So let's get something done about that, Chris. How about that?
Yeah, Colin, you said you won't be offended at 3 or 4. I've got Chris at number 3.
I'm offended.
Yeah. so Mr. Colby here only has 2 players in the top 25, and those are Mike Evans and Jalen Hurts. But I'd be willing to bet that 2 of Justin Fields, Jared Goff, and Tony Pollard make it in by the end of the year. Honestly, Jerome Ford might not be too far off either. Running behind that Cleveland O-line is going to do him pretty good. He also, here's the downside, has people named Michael Wilson and Jaleel McLaughlin on his team. I honestly think the league as a whole would be better if Chris could flip Goff and a second piece for some bad quarterback and a flex upgrade. He doesn't have to regret quarterback starts. He gets like you said, I think 2 running quarterbacks is a way to go. And Colin, I kind of know you're already working on that offer, right? No, all that said, this is a strong team with, I think, a path to get better, which is why I got him at 3.
I mean, so at this point, we've got the top 12 to 3. I think I have an idea of who we have as 2 and 1, maybe, or maybe I'm wrong. How do we want to do 2 and 1?
Corby, I want you to give me, because you've actually ranked all of your players who are not 1 and 2, Colin as well. I've given away my 1, 2, and 3 already.
Okay.
So things are going to get crazy. Corby, tell you what, I like this. It's only 2 left. Give me your number 1.
My number 1 team is Chris Cloud. I mean, I feel like he's got running backs for days, and I think like he's got running backs for days, and sure, Derrick Henry had started off slow, but he looked like Derrick Henry last week. That's great. Isaiah Pacheco starting to pick it up, and if you don't want to start Joe Mixon, great, you don't have to, because now you got Jonathan Taylor back. That's awesome. For sure, I love it, and I love the strong tight end with T.J. Hawkinson. You got great value on your quarterbacks on draft day with Staffy being great and Love being awesome. The player that I love on this team, and I will toot this horn until the day I die, I love DJ Moore, and it's not just because he has 30 points right now. I've believed in him since he had limp noodle arm Cam Newton when he was on his deathbed throwing to him. All he needs is a quarterback to throw to him, and he can be great. And apparently, Justin Fields has woken up and brought him out. A player that I hate on this team, it's probably Dalvin Cook. I said, yeah, running backs for days. He's not. I used this illusion before. The guy is dust. He can't run. He's donezo.
So Chris Cloud, the Jizzmeister, I've got him at number 6. And that's because, yeah, he's got 3 top 25 players. It starts with Devontae Adams, and then the other 2 are Raheem Mostert and Jordan Love. So he's got value in his top guys. When you add those to his stable of running backs and receivers, I really do love this team. Like, as a team, I love it. And if Jonathan Taylor does come back and he ends up with only 1 empty bench spot, this team is really set up to go pretty far. 2 things detracting. 1, if he didn't lose to me, I'd have ranked him number 1, but that's just kind of embarrassing. Another embarrassing thing, and again, this really hurts in my algorithm, he is yet to make a move this season. So the best draft is still keeping him high on the list, but I just have to believe that it starts to deteriorate a little bit as we go down the year.
Wow, 6 is bold to me. I mean, we were just talking this guy up so high last week, but I have him at 2nd, and I probably would put him at 1st if he didn't have 2 empty bench spots, which is just, I just can't. Chris is allegedly a good manager, and I believe it. I've heard high praise from him in the $100 league. He's doing good in Discord league, so I don't know what's going on out here, but yeah, I'm at number 2. He's got a great team. I think he is overstocked at running back. He moves one of those for either a heavier receiver. Although if DJ Moore is going to do this, he's fine, or a quarterback upgrade, and he's looking at probably the best team in the league. So I can't say much negative about this team. It's not the team I would have drafted, and maybe that's why it's so good.
So Colin, why don't you keep us rolling with your number 1 team on the year?
My number 1 is the big launcher. They call him Margaret Thatcher. They call him the Iron Lady. You know who it is already. It's Eric. I just look at his team, and it's just the kind of team that I like, which is a lot of receivers. He's got Jamar Chase, who, I'm not letting the 4-game scary Bengals bad thing get me down. He's got Nico. He's got Hollywood Brown is here. Keenan Allen. This team is awesome, man. TMC. Look at these guys. And then as it's running, and then so he's got all these great receivers, so he must be hurting and at quarterback and running back. He's got Josh Jacobs and DeAndre Swift. Damian Pierce is a good RB3, I guess. And then CJ Stroud and Deshaun Watson as his quarterbacks. So I guess Derek Carr. That's Mr. Derek Carr, by the way. There's nothing I don't like about this team, except I would have said the tight end, as Cole Kmet catches a touchdown. So good for you, Eric. You have no holes in your team. I put in this only hole is that tight end. Well, Cole Kmet's having 2 great games in a row. Good for Justin Fields. Good for the Bears. And good for Eric. My number 1 team. I love it. He's really hit the launch button here. So I'd love to see my number 2 and 1 team in a matchup this week. We'll see who I pick.
Corby, yeah, I believe you had him at 2, and I already spoiled that on the graphics. Why don't you go next?
Yes, I have Eric at number 2, and my reasoning is pretty sound to what Colin just said. He's got not a lot of weaknesses. He's got a ton of receivers. His running back core is awesome. I love I think Josh Jacobs will definitely pick it up in the next few weeks. DeAndre Swift DeAndre Swift is him, and I love that. I've always loved the "I'm him" statement. I think it's great. Keenan Allen is 31, but you know what? Age is just a number, as they say. The best part about this is that he only has to start Derek Carr for one more week, and then he doesn't have to do it anymore. My favorite player on this team for sure is Nico. It's got to be Nico. It's got to be maybe it's his third year breakout that came out of nowhere. You got to love it. You got the stack. You got the stack with CJ. Nothing but good things to say about Nico. And hate is Clyde Edwards-Helaire. This guy should not be rostered. It's a complete waste of a roster spot. It might as well be fucking empty. Guy sucks.
Yeah, we'll get to my problems with Eric's team, which is how I've got him at 4. First of all, I think that all of the top 6 teams are extremely good. So I want to start there. I could have ranked them in any order. Eric's team, I love the supporting cast. His top 2 scorers on the year, Keenan Allen, who's been awesome, and Nico, wide receiver 7, Collins. These guys are both receivers not named Jamar Chase. So between those two, the running back duo of Josh Jacobs and DeAndre Swift, he's got room to get even better. I only see 2 problems here. And number 1 is the roster clog that is Kyle Pitts. He's tight end 29 on the year, while his real-life backup, Jonnu Smith, is tight end 11. Somehow, Jonnu Smith is a tight end 1, while the most talented, generational talent tight end isn't startable in our 2 tight end league. Problem number 2 here is quarterback, and it's not a big problem because he's just got to hope that CJ Stroud doesn't turn into a pumpkin and that Deshaun Watson turns out of a pumpkin. I still think that at least one of those things is going to happen, and Derek Carr's goodness is going to help average out the Deshaun karma. So I do like his chances of rising up with my personal power rankings as well to be even higher than consensus number 1. Congratulations, Eric.
So let's run down the consensus rankings. Number 12, we've got Mike. At number 11, we've got Tyler. And a tie for 9th place, we've got the 2 co-hosts, Fitzy and Corby. And a tie for 7th place, we've got Chris P in his bungalow and Brandy in their bungalow. Number 6, we've got Taylor and his Florida men. Number 5, we've got Chris Colby. Number 4, we've got Colin and what used to be Kadarius Toney. Number 3, we've got Adam and his shifty calculator moves. Number 2, we've got Chris Colby and his jizz crown. And number 1, we've got Eric the launch button. I think that this is a pretty fair ranking overall.
I'm just going to, I think you said number 2 is Colby. It is in fact.
Oh, sorry.
Mr. Cloud. The Jizz Meister.
I guess I did say his jizz crown, so I got it. I got it.
Well, they're both jizz, so
yeah, they're both come. So we're coming, What do you think, Colin? What do you think of this consensus ranking?
I came into this really, like I was saying before we hit record, I was really insecure, feeling self-conscious, as the marquee power ranking in this league. But I can see I'm competing with a couple amateurs here, so it's not, no, I'm joking.
You ranked yourself number 3. You ended up number 4 and started yelling at us.
Whatever. I just, there's a clear and obvious bias here. I feel like Donald Trump in the New York State Court right now, and just like, not to bring politics into this, but I just feel really persecuted right now, and this must be how Jesus felt. But not to bring religion into this.
On to week 5 we go. In the first matchup, it's a matchup we see every year, You see it every year. It's the battle of the big Y boys. It's Tyler and Adam. It's the deli dudes. Based on absolutely no prior prep or anything, I'm going to pick Adam here because I think his team is better.
Yeah, I mean, I also thought his team was better just purely based on the power rankings. No further discussion. Give me Adam because I'm going to lock in the player who's on pace for 112 more moves this season.
I hate to make it, sound like we're having a repeat of last week, but I'm picking Adam. I too had him ranked higher than Tyler, so it only makes sense to pick him. I might have had him ranked at 10, but I had Tyler at 11.
And as always, we welcome back, once it is found, the coin.
So this week, the coin has taken a little bit of a hiatus, but the coin has given its drafting powers to Alex's phone from 2011. It's an old iPhone, and we're going to flip it.
The virtual coin. We're actually we're physically flipping the iPhone.
It's been dead for 5 years, but
Okay.
the picks are live because it wants Tyler.
The pick is in.
Okay, so in the next matchup, it's me versus Taylor, and I truly meant it when I said I like Taylor's team and that I don't like mine. So again, this one's easy. I'm taking the guy who's got Tyreek and Tua against the guy who does not have Justin Herbert this week. I think Taylor's receivers and flex are going to outscore mine by 30. Jameson Williams might get 13 catches for 33 yards this week for all we know.
These ones with the Thursday players, even though it's only Khalil Herbert, it's hard not to get a little biased here. I believe I had you and Taylor ranked right next to each other, so this is a tough call. But the fear of Taylor is put inside of me. I'm gonna go Taylor. If for no other reason than to give him the good juju he needs. I believe in you, Taylor. But maybe I believe in Fitzy more because I think I might have him ranked higher. But because Fitzy had me ranked so low, I'm gonna go Taylor.
Yeah, this is definitely a close one because I had them ranked. I had you guys ranked back to back. I'm looking at the matchup. I'm watching it unfold right before my very eyes. I'm looking at Taylor's fucking his fucking flex, and it's making me sick to my stomach. So with that in mind, give me Fitzy and give it to me as the lock of the week.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable, because if you had picked Taylor, we would have made this the second archipelago week for the coin. But you are joining the coin on my side. Colin, the next matchup is you versus Chris Colby. And all I've got to say here is, despite how I had the two of you power ranked, welcome to making picks with bye weeks. With no Jerome Ford, Mike Evans, or Freiermuth, I'm taking co-host Colin in a route. This is my lock of the week.
Well, now when you put it that way, I'm not. No, I won't. Okay, I changed my last pick to Fitzy. I think he's got a great team. No, I'm joking. I do think you have a great team. Actually, I had you at 4, so I was probably just a little heated still. But I appreciate that with the I don't know what you want to call it, hindsight of Justin Fields here putting on a dominant performance. I'm gonna pick myself in maybe the closest that I can recall of me not picking myself, just because of how down in the dumps I am about what's going on with Sam Howell. But I believe he'll have a garbage time second half comebacks. And I believe in him still. So yeah, I'm gonna pick myself. We'll see if Cooper Kupp is out there this week. That'll be fun. I'll slot him in over Tutu, of course. So if that happens, then that'll feel good. If not, then I'm gonna pick myself anyway. Go me.
Yeah, no doubt here. I'm taking Chris. Not only did he change his name to Born to Come, I think Colin's team is just not as good, and I don't think a little Tutu touchdown will save you this week, Colin. So give me Chris. All good things must come to an end.
The coin is once again joining you with Chris.
Next up, today we got a battle of the two guys whose names start with C. As Chris Patnode plays Corby. C's got to be my favorite letter as someone whose name always also starts with C. Corby, I like your team. Chris is struggling with the running backs being on bye. So I'm going to take you. I think you'll get a win in a time when you can take. You need all the ones you can get right now. It's time to make the playoff push. Even though we're only 4 games in, it's never too early. I picked Corby.
Yeah, and I'm going to take myself here. I feel confident this week. I mean, my projection is sub 130, which you never like to see. But fortunately for me, Chris Patnote has made the mistake of starting somebody on a Thursday night in the flex. And it's just never good juju for anybody. So rookie mistake for my friend Chris. So that's why I'm taking myself.
Yeah, I want to say, first of all, I misspoke earlier when I said Chris had 4 quarterbacks and only one was going to play. He does, in fact, have 2 quarterbacks this week. He does still have 4 on his team. Andy Dalton and Taylor Heineke. Interesting. Both players who could be playing at some point. Even though I had Chris ranked number 2 on the year, the absence of Kenneth Walker, the absence still of Eckler, and the continued meh-ness of Darren Waller. I mean, Corby, I got to pick you this week. It's going to be a full round of Corby for the co-hosts. But the coin believes in Chris P.
In this next matchup here, 2 people that I'm very close to. On one side of the coin, we've got my friend Mike, who is 0-4, and on the other we have Brandy, my beautiful bride, who is clawing at the bit for a win. This is a must-win game for Brandy, and this will be the last. If Brandy doesn't win this week, then we're in a lot of trouble here. So I think with that in mind, I am going to take Brandy here because I believe that they are overdue for a above average game. So give me Brandy.
Well, you know what? I'll give it to you, but I think that this has the potential to be the matchup of the week, as the winner here is going to take the all-time series lead against the other 2-1. Box averages 140 points per week in this league, and his second best matchup is Eric at a hair over 149 points when he plays him. But Box averages 169 points per matchup against Brandy. Now, Brandy won their last matchup against Box, and even though they're the Colin killer, Brandy's second best matchup is against Box, where they put up 18 points more than their average, and Box putting up 26 against Brandy. Even though I just ranked in number 12, with no regret points this week on the table, I'm betting on a little magic. Give me a check in the box. And the coin agrees.
Yeah, this is a tough week for Brandy with Metcalf, Palmer, Moore on bye, Barkley out. So I had Brandy ranked significantly higher than Mike, but I think this is it. This might not be Mike's year, but this will be his week. My lock of the week. It's Mike. I believe in you, Michael. You have half their roster is Jets. They're playing the Broncos. That's got to mean something. So get out there, Mike, and get your first dub. Here we go.
I thought I was being spicy, but we're leaving Corby alone on Brandy Island. My goodness. And the lock there, Colin.
Final matchup of the week here. The 2 powerhouses, the 2 top dogs in this league. We've got Eric. We've got Chris Cloud. We've got the matchup of the week. There's no doubt this is going to be a slobber knocker. Perhaps a 200 burger is in order. We're going to find out. It's going to be close. There's going to be blood, sweat, cum. It's going to be all the cum's going to be for me. So for my sake, I'm taking Chris Cloud here. DJ Moore's going off. I picked him before, and I shot my shot before. I shot my wad, and I'm taking Chris Cloud.
Yeah, like you said, this is the battle of 2 powerhouses of this league, 2 awesome teams. Unfortunately, Eric has to start Derek Carr this week. That's a big Derek Carr, and Keenan Allen's on bye. And for that reason, I'm out on his team for this week, but not this year. Chris Colby's going to Jesus Christ. Chris Cloud's going to continue to demonstrate his dominance as he already is with DJ Moore at 30 points at halftime. So give me Chris Cloud in a I'm going to say he's going to win by 20 points, which is exactly what the projections say. So we're right
Well,
in step.
You made
Obviously you're gonna say that.
So I wrote this one down before the matchups went off, and I'm gonna stand by it because I think part of Chris being first of all, I already said that Chris is ranked lower for me just because of the long game. His team deteriorating eventually. He did put a waiver claim in. It's still BS didn't go through, but no moves is a bad look for the power rankings. But I think he still got it this week. Still a powerhouse. I'm sorry, Eric. I also agree, another potential matchup of the week. I won't be putting real money on this one, but give me Chris to take it home. I'm sorry, give me the Jizzmeister, which is going to put the coin on Eric Island.
So that wraps up week 5. We will see how it unfolds. As we close that book, we open up another book, a book we go to every week. It's the big book of bets. From last week, we had we had Fitzy versus Eric. Will Brandy beat Colin? Fitzy said no. Eric said yes. Colin wins the matchup. We also had an interesting one. We had Zach Wilson over under 10.5 points. I took the under and Fitzy took the over, and Zach Wilson had his best game of the season with 19.2 points. We'll see if he can outpace that this week.
Best of his career.
Oh, is that the best of his career?
And he lost.
This is great. Anyways, we also had Kirk Cousins over under 319.5 yards. Eric took the over, and me and Fitzy took the under, and he had a whopping 139 yards. Eric, we smashed the under. We also had Eric versus Fitzy in a head-to-head points matchup where Fitzy loses and Eric wins 168 to 153. And finally, Colin's favorite player on his whole team, we had Sam Howell versus Eric's quarterbacks. We had Colin. Yeah, Colin took Howell. Eric took his QBs. CJ Stroud ended up winning in something that ended up a little closer than I thought it would be, 23 to 19.6. I'm going to open up the big book, and I'm going to call Fitzy out. I don't know if you're aware, Fitzy, but this Sunday, the Denver Broncos take on the New York Jets. And I bet you that the Denver Broncos will win the game.
Oh, my. You're going to give me that one straight up? I actually don't know who's favored. I'm going to take that.
Let's go.
Jets. Now, my next one here is just kind of a bet on the league, because we haven't had many close matchups this year. There have only been 2 that have been within 10 points. But I believe in parity, and I believe we're going to have some of it this week. I bet that there will be at least one matchup that finishes within 10 points of each other.
I say no. There won't be. It will be blowout city, bitch.
That was a quick calculation. Colin, you in on either side?
It was that there will be no matchups that will be more than 10 points. Like, is that what it is?
I say that there will be at least one with a less than 10-point margin of victory.
Oh yeah, there definitely will. Yeah, it'll be. I'm on Fitzy's side. If Corby's
I'm not doing a 2v1. I'm not
putting
putting
then you two do it. You brought the bet, Fitzy.
Yeah. Fuck off, Colin.
All right, I'm gonna fuck off. Good night.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, Colin.
Yeah, game on.
What do you got, Colin? You got a bet?
Yeah, okay. So this is a risky one, and it comes with a little anecdote because
Sam Howell.
Yeah, we should.
Don't do it.
For halftime.
Second half.
No, that's
second
a great
half,
one. All right, let me write that down for later.
We'll get back to that. You first.
We'll workshop that. Okay. Chris Cloud right now has 2 empty roster spots. He's gonna slide in JT to fill one up because he's on his IR. And I think he might actually listen to the show because what I found out is his. I don't know if we talked about this at your house, Corby, and you heard, but like Corby or his old team name, the pun that mouth punch must hurt. You remember? We were like, we don't know what that is. Maybe it's a reference to a Quora question. I like to think that's what it was. So I guess in one of the first or second podcast, maybe my power rank, I think it was maybe my solo power ranking video, I said I think I might have had him ranked low, and I said like, oh, maybe this will come back to punch me in the mouth or something when he scores like 200. He didn't score 200, but I guess I said something about his team punching me in the mouth.
I'm surprised that wasn't the first result on Google, but keep going. Sorry.
So what that tells me is that he at least listened to that episode. So my bet was gonna be: do you think by next episode, we'll say next episode, do you think, or I guess if it's past transaction period, this might have to be one for 2 episodes depending on when we record, or if we record next week. But after the next waiver is passed, do you think Chris Colby will have an empty roster spot? I'm saying yes.
Chris
right.
Colby or Chris Cloud?
You mean Chris
Cloud.
Cloud.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, it's fine. No worries. There's a lot of Chris's. We got
Damn
3
it.
of them that we got to juggle.
Chris
Yeah.
Cloud. Do you think he's gonna have an empty roster spot? I'm saying yes.
I'll say no. I'm gonna bet on the man.
You guys can take this one.
Chris, I'll give you 2 of Collins' $5 if you pick someone up.
All right, now let's see. Wait up here.
What do you think Sam Howell is going to finish with in points?
All right, so right now he sits at a cool like 1.15. I'm not on it right now.
He is.
Oh, he's playing right now. Shit.
He's literally playing right now.
All right, so I'm saying he's gonna finish with 17. We can do 17 up over under.
I'll take the under. Fuck it.
Beautiful. All right.
This guy stinks.
Time and time again, they bet against you, Sam, and sometimes they win, but sometimes I will win too. I just threw another pick. I'm just joking.
You know, this might be a bit of an odd bet, but I'm gonna throw it out there anyway because I like spicy things here. We're currently sitting at halftime. Just past halftime. DJ Moore is sitting over 30 points. I'm just gonna bet that in this matchup, and I'll include the bench for fun, he will not be the highest scoring player.
Whoa, that's fun. That's a sick bet. Let me look who we got here.
I think he will.
I think he will too. Fitzy, down for a little DP?
Oh, I'll double that one.
Okay, let's go.
So this is one that I wanted to bring to you specifically, Corby, but by the way you're talking about him, I don't think you'll take it. You have Tank Dell.
Yes.
You don't happen to think he'll outscore Nico Collins for the rest of the season, do you?
I don't think that he will, no.
No.
All right.
I do like Tank Dell, but I just think that he was crowned the prince to be a little too soon. I think he'll be very up and down this season. Nico is the man to own.
Maybe
Nico
next
is him.
year.
Nico is him.
All right.
Oh, fuck, Sam Howell just threw a touchdown. And with that, folks, we once again close another chapter in the big book of bets. And with that, we're gonna wrap this episode up. Thank you so much for listening. We so appreciate it. And we do as we do. We record as often as we can, and with that, you should hit the like button as often as you can. You should comment as often as you can. You should subscribe as often as you can, which is probably once. Make another account. You can subscribe again. Make some burners. Tell your friends. Tell your parents. Tell your parents to listen. We talk about cum. Parents like cum, obviously, because we're all here. So with that, we're gonna sign off. We'll see you next time. As always, my name's Corby.
I'm Fitzy.
I'm Colin.
And gamers, game on.
To my love, took it down. Climbed a mountain and I turned around. And I saw my reflection in snow-covered hills till the landslide brought me down. Oh, mirror in the sky, what is the love